What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Week 1 is finally here, so you know we have to go over my favorite picks. We are 8-2 through the first 2 games of the season. We've already hit on an 8x entry, so we are already rocking and rolling. If you want to get on the action for week 1, then make sure you're signed up for Underdog. And if you don't have an account yet, all you gotta do, use promo code FFA when signing up. Not only will they give you a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, but you're going to get my in-season rankings for free, access to all my picks well before this video goes live for the rest of the season. Plus, you're going to get a free square in week 1, higher or lower than 0.5 yards for Dak Prescott. And I'm pretty sure even if he pulls an Aaron Rodgers, they will grade that as a win. That is a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. Also, yes, I know some of these lines are going to change when the video comes out. Some might even change before the video goes live because I post them on the site first and then people take them there. So the lines are going to move. So if you want to get these lines, what I'm saying, act quickly when the video is posted. Also, if you sign up for Underdog using my promo code, you're going to have access to these picks before the video goes live, before the lines change. So who do we like this week? You know we have to start off the season with Diontae Johnson, right? Diontae Johnson higher than 4.5 receptions. Not a very difficult line for him to get to. You know that he's going to be the focal point of the offense. Relatively even spread here. There's actually not a ton of games in week 1 that have a massive spread. And the biggest one, that was New England and the Bengals, that one's even closing. So I think we only have like 2 games that are over a touchdown. So a lot of close games expected. We're still going to have some blowouts, of course. But many of these games are expected to be close. We shouldn't think too much about game script going in one direction or the other too heavily in these spots. But it's still the Panthers. They still do have one of the lower win totals of the season. So it wouldn't be a shock if they were trailing. That would be a positive for Diontae Johnson, racking up receptions. But even if that does not happen, one concern we can have is that, the Saints do have good corners. The problem is they typically really shut down like prototypical X wide receivers, your guys that are like 215 pounds, always lining up, on the outside, trying to win deep downfield, not necessarily intricate route runners, but your bigger prototypical X receiver. That is not Diontae Johnson. He still plays the X, but he's more of a shifty receiver. Also, the Saints run a ton of man coverage. Diontae Johnson is one of the best man beaters in the NFL. He's significantly better against teams that play man coverage. And again, the X wide receiver in a Dave Canales offense. Dave Canales, I think, is going to turn this team around and really elevate the play of Bryce Young. I think this one's a no-brainer. I think, 70% of the time he's going to hit higher on 4.5 receptions here. Second one, Devin Singletary higher than 49.5 rushing yards. I do think there's a chance that some of these backup running backs can get some run later into the season. And I do think Tyron Tracy Jr. has a chance to be good. Guaranteed? No. But I think that as he develops as a running back, as he develops just really as an NFL player, he's going to be mixed in a lot more as we get into the midway point, later portion of the season. But not only is he a rookie, he's a raw rookie at the running back position, and he's a raw rookie at running back coming off an ankle sprain that we thought originally was going to end his season. So not expecting very much of a workload for Tyron Tracy Jr. in week 1, even if he is active. If he's inactive, we've got basically no talent behind Devin Singletary. They've come out and said he's basically going to be featured. Now, there's no actual featured running backs in the NFL anymore besides maybe Christian McCaffrey, but even McCaffrey coming off this calf injury, he might not even be featured. So there are basically no featured backs. So whenever we find a running back that can get to 80, 85, if we're lucky, percent of the snaps in this game, of the touches in this backfield, we can feel pretty confident about the workload here. The Giants aren't good, but this is a winnable game for them. And let's be honest, Singletary and Malik Neighbors, who else are they going to? They have no tight ends of consequence. All their backup receivers are just kind of role players. They have no talent behind Singletary. These two are going to have a huge portion of the total workload. 49.5 yards. I mean, what do you think? They're running for less than 70 yards over the course of the game? Do you think the running backs are going to have less than 60? He's going to have the opportunity to blow past this number. I wouldn't say that I'm supremely confident in the Giants getting up and closing this game, but as long as this game stays relatively close, and I think it's a 1.5 point spread, it should be within striking distance for both teams, especially you have Sam Darnold on the other side. You don't have Kirk Cousins anymore. I just think game script wise, opportunity wise, is a very, very fair line. I take higher on that one. Next up, both Denver running backs, Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin, take the higher on their receptions. It's only 2.5 for Javonte Williams, 1.5 for McLaughlin. I think there's a realistic chance that we see 10 to 12 targets from these two combined. And I know that seems crazy, but we know that's what Sean Payton wants to do. Why do we like running backs on this offense when they're like, the second lowest projected points per game total on the season? We don't normally like running backs when, teams are not going to score a ton of points or win a bunch of games. It's because of the receptions. Sean Payton always targets running backs at a high rate, even thinking what they had last season with Samaje Perine. They think about the offense last season. Was Denver good? No. Were they fast-paced? No. Did they throw the ball at a high rate? No. Yet what did they still do? They led the NFL in receptions for running backs and targets to running backs. It doesn't matter if they're bad, not scoring, slow pace. None of that matters. They're going to throw to running backs at a very high rate. You throw out Samaje Perine, you replace him with Estime or Blake Watson. I don't know who's going to be activated. If it's Estime, wheels up for this. I mean, I would be shocked if honestly both of these don't hit if Estime is the active one. If Blake Watson is, there's a theoretical chance he mixes in, but I think most of the snaps early in the season are going to come from Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. And if we've got Sean Payton always throwing running backs, then we've got Bo Nix, who in college literally was like the check down monster to running backs. It's like you've got a perfect pairing here, two pass catching running backs, a team that's projected to be trailing. One of the, better game stretches we can kind of predict is Seattle winning this game and staying ahead. It's like, it just seems like it makes too much sense. These lines are way too low. I would not be shocked if they moved both of them to 3-2, which would not be as ideal, but realistically, I think I might still take that. But 2.5 and 1.5 is criminal. Those are way too low. Justin Jefferson, higher than 80.5 receiving yards. I would say I have less confidence in this one. I still really like it. I probably have a little bit less confidence just due to the fact that it's Sam Darnold, right? Thing is, we just know the offense is good. We know that they have very creative head coaching. We know that they'll put their players in position to succeed. We know that last season, Kirk Cousins didn't play for half of the year. And when they were rotating their backup quarterbacks, they were still throwing for over 300 yards per game. Look at who the pass catchers are. You don't have Hawkinson to start the season. You've got Jordan Addison coming off a high ankle sprain. Gonna play. Not going to be 100%. They've been he looks okay. He's probably going to try and make it. No one has said, oh yeah, he's good to go. He'll be out there 100% of snaps. He's probably going to be limited in snaps, limited in effectiveness. Every single play in this game is going to be designed to go to Justin Jefferson. So is he going to be hyperly efficient? Probably not. But let's be honest. Would you be shocked if he had 14 targets in this game? And it's Jefferson. He could get to 81 yards on the first play of the game, just hitting on a slant route, hitting deep downfield. And Sam Darnold, again, I don't think he's good. And I don't think he's an above average NFL quarterback. But I think all you have to be in this offense is competent. I don't know that he's going to throw for 300 yards, but if he throws for 220 yards, who is that going to? Jalen Naylor, who a lot of people like, and I think the talent is there on him, but who's also dealing with an injury? These backup tight ends that have never commanded targets. Maybe Aaron Jones gets going. Maybe Ty Chandler gets going. But it's not like they're going to have 100 receiving yards. Everything's going to be going to Justin Jefferson. They should quadruple team him. But realistically, we always say that in the NFL. You can't actually do that. You can't actually quadruple team a player in the NFL. There's only so much you can do. If they want to get the ball to Justin Jefferson, they're going to. And again, I'd be much more concerned if they didn't have a good head coach, didn't have good coordinators. They do. They're going to put Jefferson on the field in position to get these targets. If he was on a team with an uncreative head coach, I would be concerned he'd come out of this game with 2 catches for 27 yards, and we'd be like, what are you doing? Get the ball to clearly the best player you have on this team. I don't have that concern. So higher on 80.5 receiving yards seems like a great pick to me. One lower right now, and honestly, we should be taking more lowers because I have an insanely high hit rate on lowers. I originally, when I posted my favorite picks, way back, I don't know, this is probably a month ago when everything came out, they put the line on Zack Moss at 68.5. And I was like, this is probably the best pick you can make right now because, Chase Brown is there and I don't know if they were projecting for that to happen. The line is down. It is not 68.5 anymore. It's only 47.5. And I know that seems easy. You're like, okay, if T. Higgins is going to miss this game, or likely he's doubtful right now, he's probably going to play. if Chase is probably going to play, but probably going to be limited in both effectiveness and in just total snaps, aren't they going to use running backs more? And I think the answer to that is yes, right? They're going to use Yoshi. Burton's going to get some run. I think they still have Trenton Irwin. They're going to kind of rotate in there. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Gesicki sees some like snaps as not even a tight end, but like at receiver. But I think they're going to use Moss and they're going to use Chase Brown more in like the receiving game. I think that they're just going to kind of elevate just like an extra like 1 or 2 targets each for them, or maybe honestly like 3 extra targets in total for them. Because it's not like, we always think like you lose a player, right? And it's like, oh, everyone just benefits a ton. It's like T. Higgins was going to get what, like 7 targets? So it's like you can kind of give everyone 1 extra target, but it's not like everyone gets like 3 extra targets here, right? I do think they're going to win. I believe the last time I checked, they still have the highest total. I think it's at 7.5. So we're still projecting them to win by a decent amount in this game. I just think they're going to split. I think that Chase Brown is also potentially the 1A in this offense. I still wouldn't want to attack the Patriots defense, right? We're going to be attacking them in terms of like just knowing the game script over the course of the season, but it's not like the Patriots going to be a team that we're attacking every week because of hyper efficiency. It's more just going to be like, well, if they can't get it going on offense, the opposing team will have a ton of opportunities. I don't know that the Bengals are going to run for over 100 yards in this game. And if I think that Chase Brown is probably going to be the more efficient running back, potentially going to be their 1A, then I don't see Zack Moss getting, 15 opportunities. I see him being closer to like 10, and he'd have to be relatively efficient on 10 carries to go higher than 47.5. And there's just a lot of different outs. When you take the lower, there's a lot of things that can happen. They can hit on deep play touchdowns. The game can just be an absolute dud where it's just punting on either side. Like, there are a lot of reasons to why a player could only exit this game with 7 or 8 carries. We could easily see that happen. Chase Brown has 11, and that would still be a decent amount of rush attempts for the team overall. So I don't see it. 47.5, I think it's a little bit too high, but the 68.5 was definitely too high when I posted that one earlier. Final one we'll go over. There's a ton more on the website. You can check those out. But the final we'll go over today is James Conner higher than 50.5 rushing yards. I am a little bit scared of Trey Benson long term. I think the team likes Michael Carter. I don't actually know if it's going to be Michael Carter or Amari DiMercato who's activated this week. It really depends on the health status of Michael Carter. But Carter, DiMercato, they'll be like, passing down backs. They'll be 2-minute drill backs. Like, they're not going to be taking early down workload, and they don't trust Trey Benson yet. Trey Benson is more of a concern midway through the season, long term. When you want to be betting on these backfields, the incumbents that have rookies behind them, it's early in the season. That's why, like right now, before Tyron Tracy Jr. gets healthy, before they really start trusting Trey Benson, that's when we want to be attacking these running backs because they're going to have significant workloads. And I think that James Conner is going to be like close to featured this first week. Also, you think about Buffalo and it's like, well, you think Buffalo's going to win this game. I think there's a chance that the Cardinals can win, but also how would you attack Buffalo? It's on the ground, right? You don't really want to be throwing against the secondary of Buffalo. And you also don't want to be dropping back a ton of times trying to air it out because you're just opening yourself up to a little bit more risk. That just the best way for the Cardinals to win this game is to slow down the pace a little bit, run the ball, keep the clock churning because you don't want too many pass attempts. You don't want too much volume on Buffalo Bills side. You just want to keep the ball on the ground. I think James Conner can get to like 15, 16, 17 rush attempts in this game as long as it stays relatively close. He was highly efficient last season, and he was efficient last season, even when we didn't have Kyler Murray healthy. And then when he came back, it's not like Kyler Murray was amazing when he returned. He was still a little bit injured. He was still recovering from the torn ACL. I think with the threat of both, Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., having, these extra threats on the outside, it's not going to really allow people, especially with, the mobility of Kyler Murray, it's not going to allow people to really focus on James Conner. I think the rush attempts will be there. I think the efficiency should be there in this matchup. 50.5 feels like a little bit low. I take higher on that one. So those are some of my favorite picks in week 1. Again, I have more up on the website, so take a look at that if you have access. If you do not have access, all you got to do is sign up for your first Underdog account today using promo code FFA. Make a minimum $10 deposit. do that, you're going to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. You're going to get my in-season rankings for free for the rest of the season. You're going to get my underdog picks well before the video comes out. If you see the lines changing, you're going to want them before the lines change. And then this week, again, you're going to have the higher than 0.5 total yards for Dak Prescott. Add that to anything, and that's really going to help out your EV in week 1. So that'll do it for week 1. Good luck to everyone this weekend, but I'll catch you guys on the next one.